Alright pilots, Nick's here, back for another educational video on the SU-25t model FrogFoot, and today we're going to learn a thing, and that thing is dropping ordnance from your FrogFoot. So for starters, we're not going to need a whole lot of bindings for this one. You're mainly just going to need your modes, and we will need your air-to-ground mode. You'll need to learn that one, and you come down here to weapons release, and you're going to need your weapon change and your weapon fire. You also might want your ripple quantity and your ripple interval. And that is basically all you're going to need to know to drop bombs from your FrogFoot. It's super simple, and we're going to go through it. So let's get a decent loadout here. We'll start off with our 410 ECM pods, like always, just because it's a good defensive factor to have, and the missiles that you can put on those outer pylons aren't really worth anything anyway. So we'll start with that. We'll go ahead and grab our Mercury pod, even though I'm not going to use it. I just want you to see where it goes. Now the Mercury pod, if you equip it, it'll turn this screen. You can turn it on with that, and it turns your TV into night vision. But that's the only time it's good. If it's not dark out, it does nothing for you. So, first, let's equip some dispensors. That'll be the first bomb we're going to drop today. And if you see these, it shows the bomb there, and it says 8. And that's because there's dispenser tubes inside of this rack. It looks like a bomb, but it's actually basically a rack. And when you go over the target and you're ready to drop, the bottom of it just opens up, and it just drops all the bomblets out. So you're basically carpet bombing with it. Alright, now let's grab our next bomb, which are going to be RBK 500s. Now these are the cluster munitions for Russia. And they drop like a normal cluster bomb. The actual bomb detaches from the pylon, and then when it gets close enough to the ground, it's going to open up and then spread its components out over the ground in the area. Next, let's go ahead and grab some 500-pound concrete booster bombs. Now these are going to be what you would use to attack like a command center or something that's underground. So this is going to be like the Russian penetrator JDAM, except it's just a standard slick iron bomb, but it does have a booster. So you're going to drop it like you would any other bomb, and then when it gets close to the ground, it's going to ignite its booster to really drive that penetrator home through the ground and the concrete that you're trying to bust. And then for our last load, let's just grab some regular FAB 500s, and that's just your 500-pound slick iron bomb. All right, and we will grab these, and we will get up into the air. And I will see you in the skies, and we'll start dropping these. Alright pilots, we're now up in the air. We're at about 7,000 feet or so. We're cruising along at 520 kilometers an hour. And off to our left here, we'll see that big fire out there, and next to that fire is a whole bunch of targets in a ring like a big target, and we're going to practice dropping our bombs in there. We're going to go ahead and increase our speed just a little bit as we're cruising along, and now let's check. We're going to go into air-to-ground mode. Now you can see it says GND up there. We're going to go ahead and turn on our DIRCM and our ECM like we always do, because if we have them, we should turn them on and use them. Alright, now you can see from our weapons selector, if the sun wasn't right in our face, what weapons we have selected, and we can cycle through those. We can also see them on the HUD. So our outer bombs, if you remember, are 500-pounders. And then we have our bunker busters. Then we have our RBK clusters, and then we have our dispensers. Oh, and I am wrong about that. So the bunker busters are on the outer. Then our 500-pounders, then our RBKs, and then those are our dispensers, and that is our Mercury pod. So our first bomb we are going to drop is just going to be a standard CCIP drop. And that is continuously calculated impact point, or dive bombing. Pretty easy to do. So let's go ahead and select our 500-pounders. So there's our bunker busters. Here's our 500-pounders. We're going to come down here at our weapons selection. There's singles, alls, and all. And then if you look over here, we have salvo or the ripple interval. So we're just going to select salvo, so it's going to drop whatever we tell it to drop. And there's 1 and 2. We're just going to have it select 2, so it's going to drop both the bombs on the pylons. And just to be sure, we'll go ahead and just set it to all. So it's going to drop both of the pylons we have selected. So when we depress our weapon fire, both bombs are going to drop off those pylons. Alright, where's our fire at? Okay, there we see it off in the distance. We're going to go ahead and turning towards it. Now, unlike a lot of the American aircraft, in the Russian aircraft, you just have the one button to release weaponry. So on a lot of American aircraft, you'll have like a trigger, and then you'll have like a bomb dispense button or a pickle button, and different weapons will utilize different weapon drop buttons. In the Russians, it's all whatever you got. If you want to fire your gun, you have to select your gun. If you want to drop a bomb, you have to select the bomb. It all comes off with the exact same button, which is very simple, but can also mess you up a little bit sometimes. Alright, and I'll get back to you as soon as we're closer to our target, and then we are going to roll in on that target. Alright, so here we are. We are now cruising towards our target that's in front of the fire there. You can see we have our pipper at the bottom here. Now when we roll in for our CCIP drop, a bar is going to appear from the bottom down here through the HUD. And when that bar appears, then that means this pipper is where your bombs are going to hit if you release right where it's at. So we're going to roll into this target with our two 500 pounds, FAB 500 selected. We're on all drop and salvo, so it's going to drop both the pylons. And we're just going to go nose down, lower the throttle so we don't overspeed, and when that bar appears, we're going to drop our bombs right into the target area. Right now I'm just trying to get to the side of our target. Alright, it's right here in front of us. So there we are. We see the ring, so we're going to nose down. We're going to line up our pipper. We're going to cross it a little bit, and now we're just going to nose down, and we're going to wait for that bar. Launch. And now, right in the middle, we're going to pickle. Launch. Now we're going to pull away, up and away. And we can see back that those bombs landed right in the middle of those rings. And that is a standard CCIP drop. Now, it took a little while for the pipper to turn over so that we can drop those bombs, but that's because we were coming in a little shallow on the angle. If you're at a steeper angle, it'll probably give you the CCIP point sooner, but you'll also be coming in a lot harder and faster, so you just got to gauge how close to the ground you want to get. Alright, now we've got our next drop is going to be 500-pound bunker busters, the boosted bunker busters that are here on the outer pylons there, and we can look at them and see that there's a nice little booster on the back of this. So when we drop these, they are going to boost when they get close to the target to really drive those penetrator heads as deep as possible before they detonate. Now for this one, we're going to attempt to CCRP. Now that is continuously calculated release point. So the difference between IP and RP is the IP is the impact point, the RP is the released point. So on IP you dive bomb, and on RP you fly flat and level across the target. So in a Russian craft, this is not very hard to do, and we're going to show you how right now. We're just going to roll back in. Spot our target. There it is. We can see the fire and the smoke. Now this time we're going to use that pipper on the HUD as an aiming reticle, and we're going to try to get that little dot in the middle of that circle as close to our target as we possibly can. And then, because we're not diving, we're going to hold down the drop button. So this is not as accurate as what you'd want it to be, but it is fairly simple. So you see that little dot is really close to the target, right? So let's say we want it to drop right about there. Right there. So now we're going to hold down the trigger. And now we have this symbology in the front here. So that little symbology up at the top there is that pipper. And you want to just roll your aircraft a little bit and try to keep the up and down line right in the middle of that pipper. And just fly directly over the target. You don't got to worry about the symbology down here. Just worry about it right here. We can see we're drifting a little bit to the left, so we want to roll to the right just a little bit and straighten back out. And we're just going to hold this weapon release down until the bombs drop. We didn't have to change our salvo or anything. We're going to drop both bombs at once, so we don't have to change any of that. If you wanted to ripple bombs, that's where you'd set up the ripple time. Go back to the right a little bit. There's the carrot going down and drop.
Authorized.
And those bombs are away. And it looks like they're pretty good. There you go. The boosters just ignited and drives them into the ground. So that is CCIP and that is CCRP with some FAB 500s and some boosted bunker busters. So if you see, the CCIP was more accurate, but also a lot more dangerous because you have to fly directly at your target. So that risks getting shot in the face, which is bad. I've been told it's bad, and I believe them. I myself try to do everything I can to not get shot in the face. Alright, next let's drop our RBK 500s. Those are our clusters, and we're definitely going to CCRP our clusters. Well, actually, you know what? Let's CCIP these clusters and just do it from a little bit higher up. Alright, we're up pretty high now, so we're going to roll back over. There's our dispensers, so we're going to select our RBK. These are our RBK 500s, heavy heat AP cluster munitions. We're going to CCIP these. Normally with clusters I usually always see CCRP, but we're going to CCRP with the dispensers, because you don't dive bomb your dispensers. You fly over your target with your dispenser because it lays a carpet down. And we are going to set up a ripple on that. For this one, we're just going to do a CCIP drop. Drop it just like it was a FAB 500. Get it on the target. Pickle them when you're ready to pickle them right on the target, and you'll see the clusters come down. And I wanted to make sure I got high enough for this one because I don't want to get too close to the ground dropping clusters, because those clusters are going to pop open at a certain altitude. So we can see our ring. You usually want to approach your bombing target from the side. That way you can keep your eye on it. We don't have targeting pods or anything like this, so we're coming at it like we're flying like an old World War II bomber. If you don't have a targeting pod, you need to approach them from the side so you can roll into them. We're going to stay above it a little bit longer than normal, so we have a steeper angle coming in this time, because we're doing CCRP on clusters. So now we're pretty high. Let's go ahead and roll in. So we want to get the top of our HUD on the target, and then roll into it. And we're just waiting for the bar to appear. We're going to overfly it a little bit, and then we're going to nose down to get more angle. Now we're just waiting for our bar to appear.
Launch authorized.
And pickle. And now we're pulling out immediately because we don't want to get too low to the ground. Let's see how our cluster does. Look at that. Right on the edge. Still a pretty good drop. And our last bomb for this evening is we're going to do the dispensers. So dispensers is a bomb that doesn't get used very often because the actual explosive ability, the penetration of these dispenser bomblets is not very good. But It is good for light vehicles, trucks, supply trucks, Uriels, stuff like that. Open-topped vehicles, because open tops are all munitions coming from above them, are dangerous, and of course troops. So this time we're going to leave it on all, but this time we're going to go ahead and add a ripple here. So we're going to add a ripple of 0.3. So there's 0.1, 0.2, 0.3. So what that's going to do is you remember it said 0.8 on our dispenser. So there's 8 separate munitions drops inside that each dispenser. So that's 16 tubes we're going to drop. And we're going to do it with 0.3 in between. Let's tighten it up a little bit actually. Let's go 0.2. And that's going to string a carpet of these munitions. And we're going to do it CCRP. So we'll set the pipper on the target. We'll hold down the bomb drop when we're at the target. Dispensers, you don't want to drop from really high up. So we're going to do a low CCRP drop, almost like we're doing drag bombing. So here we go. We're going to roll into our target now. And we're going to start losing altitude while we're doing it. Oop, my head tracking is just not being very nice to me. In fact, I lost... Okay, there's my target. I was saying I lost my target because my head tracking wasn't letting me look. Alright. The things we do. Alright, there is our target right there. We're still pretty high. We're going to try to get down to about 900. And we're getting pretty close, so we're going to start slowly leveling off here. We're going to get a little bit lower and lower. Getting closer to 900 now. We're going to increase our speed a little bit. The slower you're going when you set up that ripple, then the more condensed the bombs will be. The faster you're going, the more spread out they'll be. Alright, so we're all the way down to 700 now. So let's just get our targeter about where we want it. We're going to say right there, because we're going to start it a little bit early, because it's going to drag it across here. Now we're going to hit the gas, get up to about 600 roughly. That's pretty good. Now you can see the carrots coming down. When it gets to the bottom, it's going to open up those dispensers and start rippling them out. We're just going to maintain.
Launch authorized.
And you could hear it just going click, 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 click. Let's look down. Look at that. Really good. Really nice. So that was a ripple dispenser. So you could see if there was a line of supply trucks, maybe with troops around it, or maybe some gun emplacements, or open-topped vehicles of any kind. That is a very effective way to get a lot of damage on them. And that is going to be our rundown of your bomb dropping. Now there are some other bombs you can do. There are TV guided bombs, in which case you would use your TV, your Cheval sensor on the TV to lock a target and then drop the bomb when the symbology tells you to. We are not getting in that today. This is a beginner's guide. We're just trying to teach you how to get this thing out in the air and be effective. We've done SEAD now, and now we've done bombs. Our next tutorial is going to be on rockets, which is really fun. We'll be doing the rocket pods, and then of course we'll be doing the really large S-25 Chad rockets. Everybody loves the Chad rockets. They're highly effective. I've sunk boats with them. All kinds of good stuff. So, pilots, thanks for joining me on this lesson. It's kind of a quick one this time. Get out there in your FrogFoots, practice your takeoffs, your landings, practice your anti-rads, and practice your bombs. And you all are going to be pros before you even know it. And I will see you all in the skies. Take it easy.
Launch authorized. Launch authorized. Launch authorized.